Welcome to the Imperfect Podcast. I'm Joe Kane.
I'm Dan Kane.
And I'm Wayne Heckler.
And tonight we're going to be talking about our favorite SNL sketches. That's Saturday Night Live. Sketches. To the bumper.
Now, for those of you who don't know, Saturday Night Live is a variety sketch comedy. It was created by Lorne Michaels and developed by Dick Ebersol in 1975. So it's actually been running for about 41 years. I think it's...
Who's counting?
Who's counting? It's almost the longest running show on television. I think there's a couple of shows, maybe some news shows that is considered to be as long running.
I think The Simpsons have been running that long. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. No.
Maybe Jeopardy or Wheel of Fortune or something.
Yeah,
right,
one of those.
Yeah. Right. But since 1975, what's nice about Saturday Night Live is every week there's a guest speaker. Not a speaker, what is it? A guest
star.
Guest star, right.
I suppose they speak while they're there.
Late. Yeah, I guess they speak, which is nice. And always a different act, a musical act, which is always nice. I always remember being excited about what bands or someone new was going to be on.
A couple of years ago, my wife and I got tickets to go to Saturday Night Live, and Miss Dynamite was the musical guest, and Queen Latifah was the host. And we got to go in, and I very rarely get starstruck, but we happened to be walking down the hall, and coming down the hall in a fedora and a black leather jacket is Dan Aykroyd. Mm-hmm. And I was such a big Dan Aykroyd fan. I was like, oh my God. And he just like looked and walked by. He's like, yeah, whatever, dude.
Was he... He was a guest on that show?
You know what? He did like one sketch, like he popped in and did
like
one
a guest
sketch.
Appearance. That's
yeah.
Nice.
He's basically lived at that studio for the past 40 years. He pops in and comes in and out as he pleases. He's one of the original cast members, obviously.
Now, speaking of original cast members, they were in 1975, Lorraine Newman, John Belushi, Jane Curtin, Gilda Radner, Dan Aykroyd, Garrett Morris, and Chevy Chase, and John Belushi.
And John Belushi.
John Belushi twice, I believe I said.
Well, he was big, so.
He was big. You could say him twice. Now, it's funny, when Chevy Chase left on the second season, actually Bill Murray took his place. That's when Bill Murray came in.
Chevy Chase only did one season.
It's hard to believe because it seems like when you think about it, he was in it for a long time, but not. I mean, his whole main thing, what he would do is he was always at the beginning. Mm-hmm. He would always fall. He would do like what's that called? A pratfall. Pratfall, thank you. And he would like climbing a ladder, changing a light bulb. He would fall down and like live from New York. It's Saturday night. that was his main thing that he did. So it feels like he's been around a lot longer on that show.
Yeah. Well, we have the slew of guests who have been repeat offenders as guest stars. You have Steve Martin, who's probably, I think, Steve Martin, Tom Hanks. There's a couple of Alec Baldwin. These are all guys that are like lifers as far as they keep competing for. I've hosted the show more than anybody
Baldwin,
else.
I think he's been on it quite a while too.
Yeah.
Didn't I just say Alec Baldwin?
Did you say Alec Baldwin? I'm not even listening. I'm just thinking. Do I really care what he said? I don't
had
know.
to mention him
Apparently
twice.
not.
So that's John Belushi twice and
Alec Baldwin twice.
We are the Imperfect Podcast. Just to remind you guys.
Thanks. We just wanted to take a little bit of time and go, what is our favorite sketches that have gone on throughout the years? Does somebody want to start out? We'll take it. We'll take turns and go. I like this one.
I'll do a couple.
You don't have to do a couple. Just do one at a time. Don't jump.
What
the
I
gun.
like is some of the big stars came out of Saturday Night Live. We think about it for like Eddie Murphy. So I'll start with Eddie Murphy, just like his famous hot tub when he's James Brown. That always comes to mind because you see like, wow, he could really sing as well.
Yeah.
And he actually did sing a song in the 80s, Party All the Time.
To party all the time, party all the time.
That was his big number one hit.
Yeah, that was
a
big
great
one.
song.
Yeah, it was. And yeah, he could sing. You think of Trading Places in a Tub. When you think of love, he does the whole thing in a bathtub. He's like, when I was a kid, I had a fart, to get a jacuzzi. You ain't jacuzzi nobody. Whoa, look out.
He's kicking the table.
I'm getting excited here. But I like that. That was one of mine.
It's funny. That was on my list, too.
Was it hot
one
tub?
One of my favorites. My kids walk around and they go, too hot. too hot tub. And my little kids are 7 and 4. They've never seen the sketch, but for some reason that has become such part of our vernacular that we go, okay, well, the little kids run around knowing too hot for the hot tub. So and he was completely incoherent in that scene, like what he was saying.
Perfect James Brown.
Perfect James Brown. Yeah. It was speaking to Eddie Murphy. Another great one was was Gumby. I'm Gumby, damn it.
Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood.
Mr. Robinson's
that
Neighborhood.
Was another good one, right?
Hey,
it's a beautiful day. Right? Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Climbs in a fire escape. And stay, right.
Well, let me grab one of my top favorites. This is one that every time when I think of Saturday Night Live, this is the quintessential thing. It was such a what I think of when I think of Saturday Night Live. Pete's Sweaty Balls. And this was Alec Baldwin was the guest star. And
don't forget Alec Baldwin was the guest star.
Alec Baldwin was in it too. Anna Gasteyer and Molly Shannon were hosts of like a radio show. So us doing the podcast, it's kind of reminiscent of that, where they were so calm and so collected, talking about Pete Sweaty and his magic balls and it was such a demeanor that these actors were coming at. It was Margaret Jo McCullen and Terry Rialto were the two characters that Anna Gasteyer and Molly Shannon played, opposite Alec Baldwin playing Pete Sweaty. And it was this Sweaty family recipe, and it was what a wonderful thing. So you guys don't know this one, or no?
That's not familiar.
No, oh my God, this is something I think about. It was the deadpan humor of talking about Pete's sweaty balls, which obviously has a different connotation to it than what was actually being said. But it was these little ball puff pastries that they were handing out, and they were going, these are my sweaty family recipe, and he would give out his sweaty balls. and I remember Anna Gasteyer was going, I can't wait to get my mouth around your sweaty balls.
They got away with a lot.
They got away with a lot, and it was all innuendo. I mean, it was all innuendo, and there's been a ton of sketches like that are innuendo. I played for you guys before the Colonel Angus.
Yes.
Coming in from the war, and it's all tongue in cheek innuendo, and it was the same type of feel to it as that. You have a something that stands out in your mind that you would like to.
The one that I always think of is do you remember when you were with the Beatles? Chris Farley interviewing Paul McCartney. Yeah, I remember. That was awesome. It's just something that always sticks out to me. Do you remember the biggest 15, well, not even, but whatever, just 10 years of your life? It's hysterical.
And everything was like, that was awesome, right? Yeah, that's a good character.
It's funny because both of ours are having to do with radio announcers and interviewers, which we do.
Yeah.
We interview people. We do radio announcing. Wow, that was redundantly redundant. And you have those moments where you feel like that when you're interviewing somebody, and you're like, do you remember? Yeah. what a classic!
And sometimes
I'm such an idiot.
And sometimes he says something that just happened, but remember when I asked you, did you like to be again, or go back to it?
Yeah.
It's funny.
But he was maybe my favorite at just the time that I grew up was Chris Farley. He was probably the one that I enjoyed watching the most, because he was just
so vibrant.
And he was just a maniac on camera.
He was so potent, and everything about him, he gave
bigger
it his
than life.
all.
He gave his all, right?
There was the whole van down by the river that Chris Farley did, and it was the enthusiasm that he did through the characters that really let him shine. there's the character with Christina Applegate and David Spade sitting on the couch, and they Matt Foley was the name of the character,
right?
And he lived in a van down by the river, and it was so much energy. Like you could give any other any other actor that part, and it wouldn't have been played like that,
right?
And it was such Christina. I just remember seeing Christina Applegate and David Spade trying not to even look in the camera or anywhere near the camera, or trying to hide their face because they were just laughing.
Yeah, they couldn't
handle Chris
it.
Farley. He was such a comedic genius, and gave, for such a big guy too. He was very
mobile.
Yeah. He was very physical with the things he did. Unfortunately, we lost him early, but he was somebody that was on that show. He shined.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it was end like that character in particular would like end by falling on a table. Yeah. Like he gets so carried away, he smashes the stuff and falls. But very good.
I believe a lot of his things were very premeditated, although he just shined when the cameras went on.
Yeah.
Yeah, now that character is a motivational speaker. Is that correct?
Matt Foley, the motivational speaker, and he lived in a van down by the river.
Yeah. Now, early on, one of my favorite characters is Martin Short. He played so many different characters. Like Pat Sajak, he would do that character. The one I always like is he was Nathan Thurm, which was a lawyer. And it's something like, it seems serious, but it's just the way he played it. Everything was like, I know that. Don't you think I know that? And he'd like smoke his cigarette and burn it down to the very end. And that's funny. I had a teacher that reminded me exactly of him. So, sometimes I always loved that. But what a character. Another one, Billy Crystal. I love so many characters. Billy Crystal. You had Fernando's Hideaway, like what is Fernando's Hideaway? You do that type of thing.
What was that? What is that he said?
But no, my favorite was Billy Crystal and Christopher Guest when they got together, like waiting in an elevator usually, and it'd be like, you ever do this? Yeah, security guards. Like, you ever just like cut your fingers with a razor blade and just pour alcohol on it? And I hate when that happens. Everything was like, I hate when that happens. Like they do it to themselves, but they hate when that happens. Yeah. That was his whole tagline.
It was I smashed myself in the head with the hammer, and don't you hate when that happens?
Yeah, very good.
One of my favorites was just opening to one of the shows that the guest star was Robert De Niro, and he was like the head of national security. And he was giving names of terrorists and he mentions, I'm happy to say that all the people that called in with these names are high school and college students. And they were real names, but when put together, they were hilarious. Like Ajit Madroors and my balls is Harry. And I think my favorite one that he mentioned was must have a rod up your pooper. It's every time it gets me. It's just hysterical.
I love deadpan humor where it's like you're delivering a line that the line itself is just funny. You have good writers there. A lot of these guys who are writers there became very successful on different things, and almost everybody who has written at one point or another has moved on to be successful in one frame or another. I mean, you look at someone like Tina Fey.
Right.
Tina Fey was a writer on the show. She was the head writer for many years. And now she's obviously a huge star with everything. What was the last? Whiskey Tango Foxtrot was her latest film that she just did. It's a creative situation, and a lot of people look at what they do as like a frat house mentality where they're in these writing rooms and they're trying to come up with sketches, and like they're just this side of being like that frat boy mentality where it's like what is the most ludicrous and insane thing we can come up with, and how can we put that on TV?
Yeah.
And it's sometimes hard to get your skits played. A lot of writers sometimes have been on Saturday Night Live. Let's say Larry David, for instance, wrote a lot of sketches, but it didn't necessarily get on air. And all those guys were successful too. But it's a challenge. You're dealing with really top-notch writers and comedians, and to pitch them, it's not easy to pitch them with ideas because everyone is so artistic. But you put these minds together, and genius comes out most of the time.
Yeah. Andy Sandberg was one that he was not doing well for writing sketches and getting them on the air until he started writing the commercial break things, like the pre-recorded stuff. So his live material didn't get on air, but he was recording and he was on Saturday Night Live because he was writing these like infomercial type of things.
Right.
It's competitive. It was competitive. It still is competitive, and apparently Lorne is a for lack of better words, a real hard ass.
Oh, yeah.
And he knows funny, but he's not going to laugh at it.
Right. Right.
A lot of these guys go in and they audition for these spots in these coveted spots in Saturday Night Live, and most of them come out and go, he didn't laugh at me, and somebody will pull him aside and go, Lorne thought you were amazing.
Yeah.
He goes, no, that was a great sketch, and you really it tickled his fancy. It was really good,
Yeah.
and the guy didn't even crack a smile.
It's very hard to get him to laugh. I know for instance, he did laugh at Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah.
Jimmy Fallon actually imitated Adam Sandler, and that's what made him laugh. That was one thing that got him. But it's hard to break him to get that smile or even laugh out of him. Yes.
That's a tough business to be in because you are on the spot. You're there night after night after every Saturday night, and it's live. It's your mistakes are out there to be shown.
Yes.
Some of my favorite sketches. There's a scene with Jimmy Fallon, Rachel Dretch, Will Ferrell, and Drew Barrymore in a hot tub, and it's the lovers in the hot tub. Mm-hmm. That's LOV-AHS, lovers, and that's their name. And there's so many scenes where they were just cracking up and laughing. They couldn't even get through the scene.
Yeah, I always picture Jimmy Fallon though. The guy was always laughing
Jimmy
in the
Fallon,
middle of everything. He couldn't help himself.
He's hosting one of the most iconic shows now of all times. And he's still that same personality of he just can't keep a straight face, but that's what you love about him.
Yeah, it works for him. Right?
You would see those sketches, and I'll be honest with you, those are some of the funniest sketches that I've seen. There's a sketch where him and Timberlake, JT, were doing the what is it called?
We have a phone call coming in.
All right, so we're going to answer the phone. We got a special guest to introduce one of our other favorite sketches. Here we go. Hello, sir. How are you?
Hello.
How are you doing? We were just about to introduce the sketch that you were in that we wanted to talk to you about. So, out of all the sketches that you did on Saturday Night Live, what is your favorite sketch?
Well, for one, I love Bruce Dickinson.
Bruce Dickinson.
Funny. I do love the Continental because I get to drink fine champagne. Great. Fun. But, wowie, zowie. That was a fun one, too.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have Christopher Walken on the phone. And we were talking about some of our favorite sketches there, Mr. Walken, and we were just about to bring up the more cowbell scene with Jimmy Fallon and Will Ferrell and Chris Kattan. And what do you got a fever for?
Well, yeah, fever. More cowbell. Feeling cure. Gotta have it. More cowbell. Don't question the great Bruce Dickinson.
I
when I
would
get
never.
done with you, you are going to be wearing gold diapers.
I admire your work, Christopher.
Mr. Walken, of course. He's on
Thank
the right
you.
at this point.
Thank you. It's very nice that
I-
you asked me to call.
Last minute call. Well, I appreciate you calling in. Let me ask you, what is your opinion on Will Ferrell? You got to do a lot of scenes with him, and probably one of your most iconic scenes was the more cowbell scene. What do you think of Will Ferrell?
Funny guy. Very funny. Tall.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
That was funny, too.
Who's funny? Farrell's funny?
Yeah, he's a runner. He runs. Doesn't shower.
Christopher, I love your accent. I know you're from actually my hometown of Astoria. Actually, maybe that's where I get some sort of accent from. I don't know. Mine is different than yours. But I know your parents had Walken's bakery right down my block.
Bakery, yeah. The bakery, yeah. Your parents used to come there.
Absolutely, yes.
Great bakery, great.
What was your favorite? What was your favorite thing growing up, going to the bakery?
The nice looking women coming in with bonnets in their head.
Astoria still has plenty of those. Absolutely.
Yeah, great.
Well, Mr. Walken, what I would like to do is I was just going to ask these guys a little bit about their favorite weekend update. So if you would like to hang on the line and give your opinions on it too, we'd appreciate it. If you have time, I wouldn't want to hold you up.
A little bit. Gotta go to bed.
You got an early shoot in the morning?
Yeah, I got a back rub in the morning. I go to a Turkish bath. Nice. Good. Strong hand. Strong.
Well, I'm gonna open this up to everybody here. We got Christopher Walken on the phone, and we are talking to him about Weekend Update. Now is our next topic. What was your favorite Weekend Update person who hosted Weekend Update?
Maybe
mine. You're asking?
Why am I asking?
If you're asking for mine.
Yeah, who was your favorite? You never hosted it?
Chevy Chase, of course.
Chevy Chase. That's a good way to start out.
Of course. He's the best.
Because I'm Chevy Chase and you're not. That's what his main tagline was.
I love when he used to fall down a lot. Funny guy.
Fun guy, yes. One of my favorites was Norm Macdonald. He had the one of the best deadpan deliveries on any of the jokes that he ever did throughout his career on Weekend Update.
Rosanna Dana.
$20 from me. Stole from me, that guy. $20.
Got to get it back from him now.
Find him.
How about you, Dan? What's your favorite?
I'd probably have to go with one of those two.
Yeah?
Honestly, yeah. Those are the two that I think of.
Which two?
Chevy Chase and Norm Macdonald, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Rosanna Dana.
Rosanna Dana.
There you go.
All right, well, let's thank our special guest caller.
Well, before the special guest goes, another person that I really liked on the show as a guest star is someone who has kind of a different type of stop and talk like you do, which is Captain Kirk. You know, he has that same type of lilting, but slightly different.
Yeah.
But he had it. What do you think of Captain Kirk there, Mr. Walken?
He's a friend of mine. I can have him call you if you like.
Yeah, I would love to hear him talk to us, yes.
He's got an album out, comedy, funny. Sing some songs on it. Very good.
That's awesome.
I'll tell him to give you a call.
All right, excellent.
Sounds good.
Excellent.
Sounds good. All right, Mr. Walken, I appreciate your time, and hopefully we'll talk again soon.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Walken.
Good night.
Good night. That was Christopher Walken on the line. All right, what a pleasant surprise to have a call in like that.
Now let me go back to that was excellent, by the way. But William Shatner is what he has a type of lilting style, like Bones. Bones, has that stopping type thing. But what I loved, the two skits that I loved with William Shatner on is there was a Star Trek convention. It was the best one ever. And he's just, he starts, kind of like really digging into these people who come to the conventions. And he's like, guys, it's time to get out of your parents' basements, move on, get a life. And he's going off. And then Phil Hartman comes up like, hey, he's yelling at him. He's just where the money comes from. He's like, I'm sorry, that was the evil Captain Kirk from episode 37. And they're like, oh, okay. And they start clapping. But it's such a great scene. There's a few with that. The other one was a Star Trek joke one. And it was with Dana Carvey that he was Khan. And they were doing and this time, like, the Starship Enterprise became a Starship Enterprise restaurant. It was like on a spinning thing, and, it was like this. And he was the health inspector. He's like, Kirk, your salad bar, there's no top on it, and this and that. So I just love those two episodes in particular.
He's so excited about the episodes.
I am. Because there was like it was like, I think, a holiday special, and William Shatner. I was like, 3 or 4 of those same skits was good. Another one, he's bragging about how good he looks. Yeah. So he's like in a t-shirt, and Phil Hartman is like looking at him through the window. Somebody's looking like how built he's like, look at those lats, and he's like making his arms, and like he finally puts like just a tie over like his white t-shirt, goes, let's go, honey, like he's ready, didn't want to cover his body. But those I just love those. As far as a guest star, William Shatner had to be one of my best.
Oh, he's phenomenal.
It's funny you mentioned Justin Timberlake, and I remember one that just popped into my head. It was like he was like a mascot for the breakfast place, and he was battling the other mascot, and he just kept singing, "Bring it on in Hamletville," but how he does it, and the look on his face is just hysterical, because it's just this weird grin that he had on the whole time. I don't know why. That's all I remember from the skit, by the way. Bring it on in Hamletville. But it just popped into my head.
I think that's enough to remember.
That one and the Samadana one.
Samadana.
Yeah.
I use that one all the time.
Yeah.
That's just become part of my vernacular.
I love Tim Meadows with the ladies' man. He's like, ladies' man. I can't do it, but he's really good at that. Yeah. That's a funny one.
A little bit of a list.
There you go. Yeah.
There's been so much. I mean, we could spend 4 hours sitting here talking about all of our different skits that we liked. We wanted to just touch base and go, this is the cream of the crop of things that popped into our heads. The first thing that popped into our heads when we think of Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
Sure.
I
and we didn't talk about a lot of people. Adam Sandler.
Oh no!
There's so much to go on. John Lovitz, even Rob Schneider, there's David Spade, there's so many, Amy Poehler, Tina Fey. I mean, there's so many
Mike Myers,
over the years.
The list goes on and on.
The Blues Brothers was a great one.
Blues Brothers. We actually got to see the Blues Brothers.
We did. We saw them live. Yeah, that was
Paramount
very cool.
in Huntington. What was that? Like a month ago? 2 months?
A couple months ago.
That was fun.
Now, name some of the movies that came out as offshoots of that, like Blues Brothers, Wayne's World,
Wayne's World,
Night at the Roxy was the
Roxbury.
Roxbury. I keep saying that. I think I knew a club called the Roxy, but that's a whole other story.
My dog's name is Roxy. Her full name is actually Roxana Dana Dana.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's where you go.
So, but we call her Roxy, but it's Roxana Dana Dana.
Is it really?
Yeah. I'm not a Saturday Night Live fan or anything. No.
Coneheads.
The Coneheads was a good one. Maintain low tones.
Low tones.
I love that.
And now they're in insurance commercials.
Yeah.
Are they really? I didn't see that.
State Farm. They were calling.
Khakis.
What's his name?
Jake.
Jake
from State Farm.
Who's on the phone? It's Jake from State Farm.
Some people that you almost forget that were on it, like Robert Downey Jr., Anthony Michael Hall. They were just on it for like a year or so.
Joe Pesci.
Right. Was Joe Pesci on it? No.
Well, no, but he had some funny
he had a lot of
skits. He was
skits
on with De Niro.
Right.
Joe Piscopo, that's who I was thinking of.
Right, Joe Piscopo,
the bodybuilder.
Sure.
He did some great Sinatra. Oh, Phil Hartman and
I mentioned Hartman. He's so good.
The whole Sinatra thing with that, and the list goes on and on.
Will Ferrell, I mean, is in so many different skits that I don't know. I think any skit that Will Ferrell was in is pretty good. He's very funny.
Yeah.
He does James Lipton also, right? He
Yeah,
does some
yeah.
scenes as that. That's good.
Well, you have to be at the top of the class to get onto there.
Who the movie Molly Shannon.
Oh, Shannon.
I forget what the name of the movie was, but didn't that come from that show with the
one that she smells her
sniff the
armpits.
armpit thing? And
Oh my God, what was the name
what
of
was that? Yeah, but that came from there, didn't it?
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm pretty sure. It definitely came from there. I don't think I actually saw the movie.
I don't know if I did, but that's and again,
Superstar.
That's it.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
it.
Pat. There was a movie Pat also, right?
Yeah,
Which is
yeah, it's Pat.
that's Molly Shannon too. No, who does Pat? What's her name? Like, you know, I forgot.
We're gonna leave the concept of Pat alone. Yeah, I think we touched
Dennis Miller.
Dennis Miller. Dennis Miller was one of the Weekend Update hosts.
Right, because we were
For a
talking
while.
about Weekend. Yes.
Christopher Guest. We talked about
Tracy Morgan.
Tracy Morgan. Yeah.
There's so many people came out of this.
The list goes on and on. We don't have to just do a list of like names of everybody who's on the
No,
show.
we won't mention any more. Chris Rock. Keep going. Juliette Lewis-Dreyfus also.
Juliet.
Julia.
Juliet.
Robert Schneider again.
Dry.
Just kidding. We just mentioned everyone several times.
Oh,
Sarah
Alec Baldwin was
Silverman.
on this.
Don't forget that. Robert Smigel, of course. A lot of people over the years. But we won't mention them. Kristen Wiig. Amy Poehler.
He's got them in alphabetical
I got
order.
them.
So if you notice, we are up to Wig already. So we should be
I
good.
skipped a lot of really good people. But
Who's the last one on your list?
actually, the last person on the list is Alan Zweibel. I can't even pronounce it. That was 1979 to 1980.
I don't even know who that is.
Zweibel. Alan Zweibel.
Well, that's a good way to end.
Horatio
That's good,
Sands.
Horatio Sands.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we kind of covered a brief overview of what we thought our favorites were on SNL here. If you have any questions or you want to add your favorites, let us know. We'd love to hear from you. At Heckler Kane Inc. Tweet us at Heckler Kane Inc. Heckler Kane Inc. And let us know what some of your favorite sketches were.
And thank you once to our special guest,
Yeah, thank you to
Christopher Walken.
Mr. Christopher Walken calling in. That's pretty amazing, isn't it?
Remember when he called in on the podcast?
That was awesome. Why, thank you. Don't forget to hit us up on all our sites.
Heckler Kane Inc.
Yeah, do it, please. Right now.
Bye.
Remember when we ended the podcast? That was awesome.
Oh, man. That was good.
I'm such an idiot.